It has been a tumultuous few weeks in Africa's most populous state. At the beginning of April, Nigeria officially took South Africa's crown as the biggest economy in the continent, albeit based on newly recalculated GDP figures. But just days later, Islamic sect Boko Haram killed more than 70 people in a bomb attack in the capital, Abuja. The assault coincided with the mass kidnapping of more than 200 schoolgirls in northern Nigeria, for which no group has yet claimed responsibility. The unprecedented scale of the kidnapping and the latest bout of violence begs the question, who controls Nigeria?
The 14th of April, a mass kidnapping at the Chibok boarding school in Borno State in northern Nigeria, which has not been claimed by Boko Haram, but given their modus operandi is likely to have been carried out by the sect, is very telling with regard to the trajectory that the group is taking. It's the first time that this many have been abducted at the same time. We are thinking of about 239 girls that went missing. This latest kidnapping incident has been a major source of embarrassment for the government, especially at the time when the military and government officials have been telling us how successful the military operation has been.
The insurgency launched by Boko Haram has been waging since 2009, and Amnesty International estimates that 1,500 people have been killed so far this year. But the group, which is fighting to impose an Islamic state on the religiously and ethnically divided country, is not the government's only security challenge, according to John Campbell, a former U.S. ambassador to Nigeria.
Nigeria has numerous challenges at present. There is the diffuse insurrection in the north that is labeled Boko Haram. There is extensive ethnic and religious conflict in the Middle Belt, where basically Muslim herdsmen are colliding with Christian farmers. And in the south, there is always the potential for a low-level insurrection in the oil patch to flare up again.
Economic growth has not translated into security for all of the country's citizens. 3 northeastern states, Borno, Yobe, and Adamawa, have been in a state of emergency since last May.
Nigeria's economic growth has been very fast over the last 10 years, with the size of the economy doubling. The main problem is that at the same time, inequality has been increasing, and 60% of the population is living under extreme poverty. Today, the country is one that has too many private jets on the airports and too few children attending schools. For the future, if this continues, the size of the middle class will not grow, and with that, the potential for Nigeria to continue expanding very fast will be under challenge.
Analysts say inequality in Nigeria is one factor fueling the instability.
The beneficiaries of economic growth are a little tiny elite at the top, with remarkably little trickle down to the general population. The government in Abuja is perceived in the north as predominantly Christian, predominantly Southern, and the north feels increasingly politically isolated and marginalized. All of this feeds into the acquiescence, or even in some cases support, for activities like that of Boko Haram. I think Nigeria has failed as a state in certain parts of the country, but not in others. I think what we may have to do as we look at Nigeria in the next several months is use not the nation state as the unit of analysis, but rather specific states, Lagos State, for example, versus Borno State or Yobe State, in order to get at something which approximates what is really going on.
How this relationship between the government, insurgency groups, and the general population develops in the coming months will be increasingly important as Africa's biggest economy heads for elections in 2015. Vanessa Kortekaas, Financial Times, London.